Okay, well, thank you everyone for joining. As you know, tomorrow is Big's 50th birthday. It's a big milestone, and we're celebrating with a toast to Big. So, Elliot, I'll kick it off to you.
Absolutely, man. Just this incredible man. Tomorrow would be his 50th birthday. Happy heavenly birthday to Big. But yeah, we just wanted to gather the team together, the title team. I invited some very special guests to just talk about Biggie, man, the life and the legacy. First guy up is my man Justin Tinsley. If you don't know, Justin Tinsley has a whole new book about Biggie. It's called "It Was All a Dream: Biggie and the World That Made Him." Congratulations, JT, man. People feeling this book, man. Congratulations, bro.
Yo, man, appreciate it, man. And just for as a disclaimer, I'm trying to walk away from the street. My wife is throwing me a book release party, so I'm trying to get away from all this traffic. So if you hear traffic in the background, my apologies on that.
It's all
But
good.
nah, man, it's all love, man. Like to know that somebody whose legacy is as expansive and world viewing as Christopher Wallace, and to know that I have a very, very small dot in his universe with this book, man, and just the reception that it's been getting, it means the world to me. Like I grew up on rap. I remember trying to hide my cassette copy of Ready to Die from my
Yep.
mom because she didn't want me listening to rap with the parental advisory sticker on it.
Yep.
But you can't tell a kid that the stove is hot and they're not gonna touch it. And thank God that stove was just like one of the greatest stoves ever, man. It's just I tell people all the time, man. I remember Elliot. I'm obviously I know you'll remember this interview
Yeah.
because you and B Dot did it with Nipsey,
Yeah.
and he spoke on his importance or what he felt like his importance was, why he never had to like dumb down his
Yep.
music. And I'm gonna try to use that logic in speaking with Big from a macro to a micro perspective. Like if we say America is important to the world in terms of like a cultural perspective and how it like moves the
Yep.
needle, and that's important, and you would say
Yep.
that and New York City is important to America from that same perspective. And the notorious B.I.G. is one of the most important people to ever come from New York City. Then I would it's not even going out on a limb. If anything, see, again, I'm
Yep.
outside. If anything, it's like the notorious B.I.G. is one of the most important people to ever live. And that's not hyperbole.
Yeah.
Like,
And that's why, and that's
if
and
you
that's and
take it
that's why you
from,
took on the challenge,
yeah,
right? Because people could say, well,
yeah,
there's been books written about Big, there's been movies. Like, why take on
yeah.
that challenge? And what does a young journalist like to really tell his story? Like, what made you accept that challenge, and what angle do you take it from in this book that has really captured people?
Yeah. I'm not gonna lie to you. So like when for one it was weird how the whole process happened. Like everything I knew about the book publishing world was that I come up with the idea and I pitch it to you, Elliot, and then you tell me like whether you like the idea or not, we'll move forward. They approached me and they were like, look, we've read some of your stuff on what you write on the culture and hip hop, and we like what you're saying, and we're looking to commission a biography on Big for his 50th
Mm.
birthday in May 2022. And I ain't gonna lie to you, Elliot. In September 2019, it felt like May 2022. That's an eternity away.
Yep.
You know what I mean? I can do that. That's fine. Not knowing that the world was gonna shut down for 2 years.
Yep.
And so we signed the contract in like January 2020, and and you get that first check when you sign the contract. I'm like, damn, I've never had a check like this before. This is dope. And then the reality sets in. It's like, shit, I actually got to write the book now.
Yep.
And like, what do I tell people about Big, who at this point is like a folk hero? Like he's a folk
Yep.
hero. And I knew what I wanted to do. And obviously, Ellie, you know about my style of writing. I like taking a socio-economic and political and cultural perspective. Like what was going on in the world when Big was doing this, when Big was doing that, and how did these decisions and pieces of legislation help influence, whether directly or indirectly, the decisions that he made.
Hmm.
I think one of my favorite parts about it is we talk about Ready to Die.
Yep.
That was released on September 13th, 1994. And a lot of people may not know that literally on that same day, the 1994 crime bill was passed.
Yep.
And we know how impactful that piece of legislation was in terms of, deciding what stereotypes look like in these inner city neighborhoods. We know the term super predators came from that. And if you listen to Ready to Die under that pretense and under that context, Ready to Die sounds like the rebuttal of what, the Senate and the House of Representatives were saying about these inner city neighborhoods. Like, y'all are coming up with all these ideas and these images of what y'all think we look like.
Wow.
But like, here's what it's actually really like on Fulton Street. Here's what it's like on Bedford and Quincy. And as Jay would point out when he came out with Reasonable Doubt, And look,
Yo,
one of the greatest albums of all
Jay's on the
time.
call, Justin. Don't get nervous, man. You're on right now. Don't
Oh,
get nervous.
oh no, look, it's cool. I hope you feel the same way what I'm saying. But like when you think about what was going on in the world and you listen to rap music in its own way is pieces of legislation that we can actually relate to, that we actually gravitate to, that we actually feel. And like Big was one of the greatest ever, man. And I don't want to take up too much time because I know it's a lot of people that's gonna come up here and speak. But like when I hear Biggie Smalls at 50, bro, it's like golly, man, like it's just I'm sad because I always wonder like what could have been. He's one of the most he and Pac, of course, but you know he's one of the most painful what ifs.
Yeah.
Like this guy
Fat
was,
Joe's on here too. Let's invite Fat Joe up,
yeah,
please. Fat Joe.
yeah,
Get Fat Joe
for
on there
sure,
real
yeah,
quick.
yeah. I don't want to take up all the
Yeah.
time. Yeah,
No, but congrats on the book, man. But the feedback's been amazing so far, right? Talk about how you've
yeah,
embraced this book. You know, it's all a dream.
yeah. No, it's been great, man. I was on Sway in the morning with Sway and Heather B and CJ, Big and Faith's son. He was on there too. We had a great conversation about Big ahead of him being honored at the Empire State Building tonight. Like you gotta let that sink in. Like Big is being honored at the Empire State Building. This is a
Wow.
dude whose career basically spanned from first album came out September '94 and he was gone by March 1997. Nobody has done as much for
Hello.
us in such a short amount of time
Hello.
than Christopher Wallace.
Hello.
And like it's like you can't pay enough homage to this dude, man. Like there's no way to do it. It's just simply impossible. And I just want to wish the late great Christopher Wallace, 50 years old, happy birthday. Thank you for changing
Yeah,
all of
yeah.
our lives. And yeah, I don't want to take up all the time, so y'all can
Yeah, no, free
definitely
flowing
pass it off to whoever
conversation.
the next person is.
Hove,
Yep.
you good? What's up, sir?
What's good?
Yo,
Peace,
peace to
peace,
the God. Peace to the God. I see Fat Joe. Let's get Fat Joe in here
peace.
too. You gotta check that book out, Hove, though. My man did his thing, Justin Tinsley. It was all a dream,
Well,
you know.
I will. I will.
Cool.
Yeah.
So, Hove, when you see here like Biggie at 50, man, what comes to your mind? Like any emotions, thoughts? Like when you hear like, tomorrow would be his 50th birthday, heavenly birthday. Like what emotions come to your mind when you hear Biggie Smalls at 50?
It's crazy because we just was celebrating Todd's birthday, last night and tonight. So I'm a little slow. But and I know he will be there. So selfishly, you know, Justin said, all the what ifs start to
Yeah,
play. But then you realize the impact that he made on the world in such a short
yeah,
time. And it's like, you know, you know, man, he just was, an incredible lyricist, um, but even, better human being and super funny.
yeah,
We just all we did was laugh,
yeah,
and I know D-Rock will attest to that and sees and
yeah.
everybody
I
as
think Puff
well.
just jumped on too.
Um,
Let's get Puff as a speaker too. Sorry, Hove.
we put up. Yeah, but yeah, again, it's like you spend a lot of time in the what if, but it's also so celebrated that, some people live, twice as long and won't accomplish and won't touch the world in the way that someone like Big did, right? So it's like, man, if anyone can touch the world the way he has, um, you be blessed. You,
Yeah,
you you have a blessed life. You have a blessed life, regardless of the time.
yeah.
You know.
No, and then to have a real friendship with him, like you said, like to really develop that. Like, what was he like, Christopher Wallace? Just the friend.
Yeah, no, they're super, super. Again, we mostly just spend our time laughing. We talked about serious things in between, but we were just
Yeah,
like, everything was based around, when we getting our next laugh, and
yeah,
and then we'll work and get that out the way so we can just hang out. It's pretty much like that.
yeah.
Um,
But even on the last song with Pusha, you
yeah,
mentioned the commission, right? Like that's been talked about through the years. Like even now, you're like your last verse, you mentioned the commission. Like talk a little bit about that. Like was it like what were those conversations like with Big with the idea of forming that group?
yeah. A lot of his, big in like '96. I want to say '96, '95. was talking about, yo, let's go to Atlanta and get, you know, two big houses next to each other, blah blah blah. And I'm looking like Atlanta. Yeah, I'm like, we're the hottest guys in New York City, like in the world, in the Mecca. Why are we going to Atlanta? And you think about Atlanta, how Atlanta is
Yeah,
today, and how influential Atlanta is. Like you just see how much of a visionary this guy was. And you know, he was doing Brooklyn Mint, you know, clothing
yeah,
line, you know, back then. So all the things that he was talking about was just like way ahead of his time.
yeah.
You know.
Let's
Yeah.
definitely get Puff up here as a speaker and Fat Joe, man, so we can have a free flowing conversation. Yo, Juan, you got any?
We need
Sorry.
we need Diddy to accept.
Okay, yeah, please. Because we want to keep it an open conversation. It's not like, me interviewing Hove, even though I enjoy doing that. He's sick of me at this point. We've done that a million times.
True that. True that. True
Actually, Juan, do you have a question? Juan, do you have a question for Hove? He's tired of hearing from me. This
that.
is guy Juan Navarro. Juan, do you have a question for Hove, Biggie related?
No, I mean, I think for me, Big, it always comes back to like his voice, right? So, what would you be able to tell us about like his artistic ability that impressed you the most? Like, we know that you two were healthy competitors, so like, what
No,
what impressed you about him?
just his pockets and his usage, word usage. Like, you know, when people like just explore unique words and like, you know, thunderous, shaking the concrete, and like it's just like he had a way of picking like, you know, words that you don't typically use and like add it to the lexicon in hip hop. And he also had like super interesting pockets where you couldn't predict. Like I could predict a lot of, you know, if you rap, you're a professional, right? Like if you play
Yeah,
professional ball, you can pretty much predict on the floor where someone wants to go, where their strong points are, and you can predict their patterns and what they're gonna say. With him, it was very difficult to like predict his patterns. His patterns were
Yeah,
so unorthodox, and you know, just again, I didn't know about the you know, the jazz player that was around his way.
yeah,
yeah,
I didn't know that until the what was it, like a doctor recently was something that just
yeah. I think it was a
yeah,
documentary.
yeah,
yeah, I didn't know it, and then it made perfect sense to me. I knew that about Rakim. I knew Rakim had like some jazz training and probably like played the clarinet or something like that, which explains his pocket. But
Yeah,
Big being exposed to that super early, it makes sense.
yeah. I remember Shaq G spoke about that too. He kind of compared it to jazz, where it's like the whole flow on "More Money, More Problems," like BIGPOPPA, like just that breaking down like the way that he was
Yeah,
saying words was crazy. Like he's
yeah.
just really not
He
thinking.
was another historian. Rest in peace to that man
Yeah,
as well. He was another historian who just like, you know, studied and loved the culture.
yeah.
Um,
yeah, that's right.
Is some of the one of those stories about Clark Kent sort of like fueling you guys' competitiveness, are those exaggerated? Like the "Who Shot You," like that he was saying like the second verse he made was trying to impress you. When Biggie added that to that song.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, 100%. But Clark Biggs gave me the Who Shot Your CD. He called me like it was like we had some kind of beef or something. He's like, "Yo, meet me on 125th right now."
Oh, Kareem, Biggs
I
burst.
jump in my yeah, Biggsburg,
Yeah.
yeah. I jump in my car, you know, I'm heavy. Like, what's going on? Like with Biggs, I mean, I fly up there. You know, I get out my car, get in his car. He plays the song. Be like, yeah, here, you keep it was a cassette tape actually. He's like, yeah, you keep that.
Crazy.
I wrote like 4 songs that night. None of them was good as Ushaji was. Like I wrote like 4 songs, but they were just again, it was that, you know, this friendly competition, like just trying to push each other to be the best.
and I heard a lot about them. I heard.
Yeah, and I
Sorry, go
think
ahead. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
go
No, go
ahead.
ahead.
And I think Clark, Clark loved that type of shit anyway.
Yeah,
So it was just like his way, and we both like his kids, you know. So he just was like a proud father
yeah.
son.
So we heard a lot
Right.
about Brooklyn's Finest. Like, what are your memories of doing "I Love the Dough" on Big's album?
That was
Classic.
Puff. Puff. If Puff is in here, Puff was
Yeah, we.
that was when Puff was like, man, you sitting in the back. Big was sitting in the back. Smoking weed, and you know we was just like laying the verses, and he was like, he trying to kill you. He trying to kill you. You better get him.
Yo, we sent an invite. We sent an invite, speaker invite to Puff, man. You got to accept it. Fat Joe too. I don't know technology, but
Yeah.
they got to accept the invite. You guys can speak. Please speak. Please join the conversation.
But again, we're just one of those sessions. We did more talking than creating. I
Yeah.
think we did the song really quickly. We spent hours just talking and chopping it up. And the song was like almost like an afterthought.
Yeah.
We just did the song. The rest of the night was just spent, everybody having fun. It was just almost like a party inside in the studio.
Joe Crack the Don. Joe Crack.
Yo, what's up?
What's up, King? How you?
Joe,
You
what
know,
up?
it's so hard to get home to speak somewhere that when he speaks, it sounds so beautiful. You don't want to interrupt. I ain't gonna lie, I'm a
That's right.
talking motherfucker, but when home talk, I say, yeah, you know what? Let the God talk his
No,
shit right now. You know
but
what I'm
Joe,
saying?
Yes,
but
sir. Yes, sir.
I got a question which kind of relates to me when growing up in the game and being in the game in the '90s with you guys starting to write about hip hop. I think what people don't recognize is that Fat Joe, Jay-Z, Biggie, you guys were kind of like New York local like underground kings, and then you emerged and became like worldwide kings. Can you talk about that evolution of like a New York rapper and like what it took to break through and really like take it worldwide?
You know, it was a beautiful time. You know, I come up under Digging in the Crates, Lord Finesse, Diamond D, Showbiz AG, and I used to see Hove freestyling. He don't know that. He don't know. I used to see him rapping in front of the spots. And it was like, I guess it was our class of whatever year you want to call it. So wherever we trying to get on. So wherever they had something, whether it was Video Music Box or it was like a hot party or somewhere, we would just all bump into each other in different places. And so when I met Biggie, Flojo was already out and shit. It was banging. And then I was at the Lyricist Lounge. And all I hear is Puff Daddy up there. Same Puff Daddy, just not that rich like he is now, but he's still talking his shit, jumping up and down. And Big start battling a bunch of rappers. And he just started taking them out. White guys, black guys. He just looked like a giant on there. He's killing them all. And I remember that night I met him and I gave him my vinyl to Flojo. He was like, yo, I know this shit. And that's how we became cool. And then I used to like, because when we was rapping, we wasn't making money like you can make now. Like back in the days, you could be number one making 1,000 a show. It was crazy, right? So besides rapping, I would throw parties. So I would throw parties like in the Bronx, like promote, do parties at the Fever and all that. And I booked Big for his first show at the Fever. You know what I'm saying? And it was like, we even spelt his name wrong. It was prematurely. It was like ahead of its time, right? So we spelled Biggie Smalls wrong on the flyer. But we became,
Wow.
yeah. We became family ever since then. And what's crazy is, I don't know if it was Biggie. I don't know if it was Puff, right? So
Oh,
I'm in
Puff's on.
Biggie's
Shout
house.
out Puff. Puff's finally on as a
Yeah,
speaker.
but I'll let him answer this after I finish, right? So I
Yes, sir.
remember one
Crack.
night one day I hung out with Biggie the whole day, and I'm in Brooklyn with him in his house. He got a hockey jersey on. I got an army fatigue on. It was that time. It was Onyx. It was right.
Yeah.
It was that time.
Everybody jumping. Everybody jumping.
Yeah. It was on some other shit. And then all of a sudden he said, yo, come to my party tonight. So I said, all right. It was like one of the first parties, right? So he told me, come to this party, give me tickets, whatever. That night, I walk in the party. The nigga Biggie got a salmon suit on with the fur on the collar, with the gaiters on. I was like, yo, what the fuck happened? Like, how this shit? I'm sitting in the crowd like, oh my God, what is this? Like, this shit was the total transformation in one day. I was like, yo, my God. And that's when I knew when I sat in the crowd, I said, oh no, this is different.
Yeah.
This guy gonna be a super duper star. And
Mhm.
also, I don't know if it's everybody else's experience, but he just shot to the top real fast.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Real fast. Like
Absolutely.
it was like he was on. Next thing we knew, he was like number 1, 2, 3. And the Billboard Brooklyn, we did it. Brooklyn, I was like, oh my God. It was like a fairy tale. It was like a fairy. This shit was crazy.
Puff, you was a major part of that ride, man. How did you take Biggie from ashy to classy, man?
Oh man, it wasn't that hard. He always wanted to really be fly. He had some sensibilities, and I think it came from just the Brooklyn style at that time. As far as with the polo heads, and the cats from Brooklyn had a certain type of style that the rest of New York was emulating with the Timbs and the Chucks and just the Ralph Lauren. So he had got like a taste of
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
You know
yeah,
what I'm
yeah.
saying? Of knowing a luxury name, of knowing Gucci, and then he always had the problem where it wasn't in his size. So shout out to 5001 and all the other tailors that we was able to find. That we was able to really get him real drippy. And he was basically like, I want to dress like a skinny nigga. I want to dress like you. And so I was in the suedes and leathers and Versace's, and he was just like, get when you order two of each, bro. You know what I'm saying? But he was fly on his own, so it was just like a great time, in fashion. And as Ho said, what I'm saying, starting with Brooklyn Mint, what I'm saying, he had fashion was a big part of his shit, the way he looked, and that was like kind of Harlemish of him.
Yeah,
You know
yeah,
what I'm
yeah.
saying? So that's kind of how we always connected. Like his gear had to be right. I love my Brooklyn niggas, but sometimes, y'all
Yo,
could
yo,
go
easy,
and,
easy,
and
easy,
hey, yo,
easy,
chill,
easy with
hold on,
that
hold
next
on,
statement.
hold on,
Whatever
hold,
that
yeah,
next
yeah,
statement gonna be,
yeah,
easy,
yeah, yeah,
easy.
yeah, yeah. Brooke, sometimes,
Sean and Sean, man.
hey, yo, no, he saves me all the time. I'm just gonna say, I'm gonna say big. Now I'm gonna
Nah,
say
go ahead,
big,
Puff. Come
big
on,
hit me
baby.
really. Nah, I'm saying like, yo, cats from Brooklyn, it was also known as they was rough and rugged. You know what I'm saying? So it was like, when he was getting a little bit flamboyant and shiny, and he, it was something that was surprising. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? For me to see a Brooklyn cat want to get as shiny as I was getting. You know what I'm saying? Coming from
But
Harlem.
Puff, what?
And he was with the
Yeah,
shits. You know what I'm saying? He was with the shits. And as Joe said, it was like, yo, he just blew. You know
yeah.
what I'm saying? It was like from one night to the next. You know what I'm
But
saying?
how did you get there musically, Puff? Like a lot said, like you had to push him in the beginning to make records like Juicy, like make those hit records. Like, how did you guys tap into like he realized he wanted to be, go from the underground king to like king worldwide, like we were saying.
Yeah, I didn't really know about the jazz influence myself till I really watched the documentary. And I think that really played a part in it. It wasn't really a hard conversation. The thing I told Big, I said, the thing you have over everybody is melodies and that you funky. I was like, these cats maybe could spit, but they not as funky as you. You know what I'm saying? And when he came, he was rhyming 160 bars. And so once I kind of showed him song format, I think he already had the format in his head and didn't realize like he didn't realize the equation, how to put it together. But as soon as he put it together, it was like a beautiful mind, and he put it together, and it was over. It
Yeah.
was like one conversation, and all those choruses came, and all of those things just came, and they just came like,
But you know what?
you know what I'm saying?
But you know what amazes?
Like out of
But you
nowhere.
know what amazes me, and everybody could jump in on this. Like Ready to Die, obviously he's a great rapper, but Life After Death, he takes it lyrically. Everything, his flow, everything goes to a whole other level, like a whole other stratosphere. Like it's a rare that you see a rapper get that better between albums as an artist. Like what was that evolution like, Puff, or anybody want to jump in? Like, do you guys hear it that way? Like lyrically, like the monster he started becoming and how he started to evolve even stronger.
Yeah, I'm gonna speak on it from being there firsthand real quick. Then I'll let everybody else talk about how they were influenced. Um, yeah, it was like he had an extra amount of confidence. You know what I'm saying? Like, Like everybody is going to be, is going to feel out their first game. So it's like he had his first game on Ready to Die, and then after that, he just knew who he was. You know what I'm
Yeah, yeah.
saying? It's something about like when Hove raps. He knows who the fuck he is. When Nas raps, he knows who he is. You know what I'm saying? Kendrick, they know who the fuck they are right then and there. On the first one, he knew who he was, but he ain't know he was what he was on the second one though. But the first one was real raw. So it's like he reminds me of Miles Davis. I would say the second one would be Britches, bitches brew. You know what I'm saying? When he came back with all them ill styles and everything.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
And also he was a super student, right? So you figure like rap was just growing at that time too. Remember, we was just trying to rap. We ain't have no song structure. We just rapping 1,000 bars, just trying to rap better than the next person. Rap hadn't figured out his song
Yeah.
structure. You know what I mean? Like if you look at all those early records, they didn't have like great big choruses um and then like Chronic came and all that, and him being a student and all that was like, oh, okay, I see where y'all trying to go with this, and and his Puff knows this as well. Like Big knew exactly what he was making on Life After Death.
Yeah.
He was like, oh no, I got it. I got this. Like this album is going to be my biggest album ever. And, like he had it. He knew exactly what he was making. When you get in that zone and you got that information, is very difficult. It took me 3 albums.
Yeah.
Like when I figured out that Hard Knock Life, like in that whole thing, I was like, oh, I got it now. I know exactly where I could take this. He figured that out immediately. And then by the second album, maybe one of the best double albums ever. Like every song was
Yeah,
incredible.
the one sticks out to me is More Money, More Problems. I think that stood the test of time. Like, I can make the argument this like might be the greatest rap song of all time. Like, I remember Puff, you played it for me at the Source while I was music editor. You played it, and I remember I speak to back then, like when you were sampling things like Diana Ross, you were catching a lot of heat for that. But then when you played that record, to me, it was like undeniable from jump. Like, can you talk about that record, More Money, More Problems, and the creation of it?
Yeah, it was so crazy that it's actually like a hard it's a hard record. You know what
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
saying? Even though it gives it celebratoriness, but the More Money, More Problems was an example of really he could only make music that was coming from his heart. It wasn't like he heard a Diana Ross record. I knew I could give him the shiniest record. You know what I'm saying? That would make people feel good, and he'd be able to still bring it where it was relatable to the people we were making our music for, which is people in the hood. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
And so that's a beautiful example of his song arrangement, of his artistry, and also that other side of him too, where he could flow at that frequency because he was really a cat that just wanted to really have fun. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? All the time. He wasn't like, oh, this big black heavy dark gangster. You know what I'm saying? He was just like, what I'm saying? He was like the cat in your crew that keeps you laughing, the funny cat, but also like the quiet, you know what I'm saying? The cat that's cool that everybody looked up to. So
yeah.
yeah, man, that more money, more problems. That's when he had it. Like on the first albums when I was giving him the radio records like Juicy or Big Papa. You know what I'm saying? He was into it. He really started to catch his bag on the One More Chance remix. You know what I'm saying? And so when he heard More Money, More Problems, it wasn't even like, yo, you need to do this. He heard it out the room. He's like, give me that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, and I think you have like that holy trinity of records that are like big mainstream monsters, but they're hip hop credible. Like you can't front them. And to me, that's More Money, that's Benjamin's, and that's Victory. You know what I mean? Like those three records to me are like they're hard to beat, man. Those are like
Yeah. You got to put Hypnotize in there though.
okay, my bad, my bad. Wait, Hove. I remember on the Juan Epstein one you had talked about.
By the way,
Uh-huh.
I was there when Biggie made
Let's
Hypnotize.
go.
I was in the studio with
Talk
him.
about it.
That was my claim to fame. That's my claim to fame, guys.
Tell me, crack.
And I'm gonna tell you, we was in Daddy's house, right? Or we was in Daddy's house, and 12 noon, 10 Chinese girls came in looking like the runway models of America. They left at 1. At 1, 10 black girls came in. They was looking like the #1 models in America. 2 o'clock, 10 Spanish girls came in. Looking like runway models of America. 3 o'clock. I mean, this shit was
The view,
insanity.
the view,
B.
the
It
view,
was in.
the views of Fat Joe.
I'm not going to elaborate too much. What I can say is, boy, that was the greatest day of my life watching him do Hypnotize.
Did you know it was gonna be a classic like that, Joe? Did you feel you felt it in it?
Oh, that shit was crazy because the beat itself was that Luke and Laura.
Yo, Puff, how far?
That shit was like, you knew that shit was
That,
sitting because he just let that shit bake while he was writing to it. He was letting that shit bake and it was just playing for hours and hours and hours. It wouldn't stop and the shit never got whacked. It just kept pound, boom, 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 pound. That shit was like, oh my God, this shit is. Nah, that shit was
yo,
crazy. Instrumental, that
yo,
shit was
Puff, how fun?
crazy.
Puff, how fun was the video?
Oh man, the video was fun. That was like the first time we both tried ecstasy.
Woo! Yo, raw on this Twitter call, man. Y'all are wilding, man.
I mean, I didn't. I mean, it was an experience. You know what I'm saying? Everybody,
Take that.
big,
Take
big.
that.
Hey, yo, Biggie's 50. Check this out. We have nothing to hide, nigga.
Let's
Biggie's
let's
50.
do it.
You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
right.
You know what I'm saying? That was a long time ago. It was the first time. It was just a little nibble. It was all right. It was a little nibble, but we was in extra high spirits. This breaking news and shit.
And he's like,
Fuck it. On his 50th birthday, I want to let y'all know that.
we're gonna drive backwards now. We're gonna drive backwards. We're high up
Yeah,
ecstasy.
I'm telling.
Real quick, I know we talk about life after that. Joe, you had something to do with Notorious Thugs, right? I wonder if you could speak on that a little bit. I know you mentioned it before in interviews.
That's simple. So Biggie, I got real cool when I came in the game. I got real cool with Bone Thugs and Harmony. We were signed to the same label, so I was basically the only guy in New York who really knew them and was really fucking with them like family. But them guys, they went from like they just started selling like 30 million records. Like they was breaking records, like they was the biggest. And Big was like, y'all want to do a song with your guys. And I was like, no problem. You know what I'm saying? You know, Big, my brother, there's no question. So I need you to get it done. They've been avoiding our calls. So what happened was they was kind of cool. They was cool with Tupac. They already did a song with Tupac, so they didn't want to burn no bridges or whatever. So I had to do some convincing. But believe it or not, they're the happiest guys in the world. They ever did the Bone and Biggie. So we got them in the studio, we made them rock, and it was the best thing they ever did in their life.
Yeah, that's one of the best ones in the album, man.
Yeah.
Crazy.
But yo, Puff, can you talk about how Big inspired you to really step out and take on the challenge of being an artist yourself?
Yeah, that was kind of wild. We would I would like put together the shows and I would act like I was the artist. So I would be like, whether it was Jodeci or Mary, I would actually be like kind of pantomiming like the moves and like the bop or whatever it is. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? I'm not saying I'm responsible for everybody's whole bop, but I'm just saying like, just kind of sketching out a vibe for them. And so, as I was doing that and then he was like, yo, I need you to bring me out. I got this idea. Because I just was in the Versace shirt, like more on the sideline. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And then once it came time for the tour, but throughout the shows of building Bad Boy, I was like the hype man of all the artists, like on some PT Barnum. And then he would just see just the bag that I would get in as an artist. You know what I'm saying? Just dancing because I had came from being like a backup dancer, so I had no problem with like kind of filling that role.
Yep.
And then he was just like, yo, I just see you as an artist. He was like, I got an idea. You know what I'm saying? Well, I'm going to write your rhymes and I'm going to manage you. And you manage me. And it was like we would have these like, fun conversations. And then so on the Get Money remix, like that verse was actually written for me. And I was just like, man, I mean, I was like, I don't think I could get it. I don't want to like slow up the flow, I was a
Yeah.
little nervous. And then
Wait, which verse?
and he
Which
kept,
verse, Puff? Guns Out Bustin'? That one?
with Caesar's verse.
Oh, got you.
Yeah, of the Get Money
Yeah.
remix. Um but but yeah. Then by Can't Nobody Hold Me Down and by the Benjamins, you know what I'm saying? He had locked me into a bag, and by Victory, he had pushed me all the way in, and I didn't know what would become of it. You know what I'm saying? But I knew I was like living a dream, and I was like with it.
Yeah.
So it worked out. He saw something in me that I'm saying. I probably and nobody else probably saw in me.
Yeah. How do you feel like you was popping your shit like when you be so confident rhyming with him or even like on My Downfall you was popping shit on his records and stuff like that? Like how did he react to that? Did he hype you up on stuff like that?
Nah. I mean, I did whatever I did. I felt, what I'm
Yeah.
saying. And so yeah. I mean, in the studio, like, he definitely let me wear the director hat. You know what I'm saying? He
Yeah.
definitely let me be Phil Jackson. You know what I'm saying? And you know what I'm saying? So it was definitely that type of thing, like, letting me produce the record. He never really tried to produce the record.
Yeah.
You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? He was like, you do that. He never was coming to the mixes or was anything like that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so, that's how that really went down. So all of the stuff that was just the creative sound that I was
Yeah.
putting together, and
Yeah,
yeah.
some of my great well-produced records. I want to talk about Victory. Hove, I was saying, I remember on a Juan Epstein back in the day, you had talked about you liked the arrangement where it's like Biggie's doing like a mic check, but then Puffy's just rapping and setting the record off. Like, you talk about your feelings about that song?
Oh yeah, it's one of my favorite moments. And it's one of my favorite moments from them. Two of my favorite moments when they're singing the Player Hater song. Just the amount of fun that it felt like they were having that day in the studio, and the moment where he Puff is rapping and Big is like in the background adjusting the mic, like turn the mic up a little bit, like just the confidence for the person rapping to allow that to happen. Almost like when they say Basquiat and Warhol, when they did their collaborations, Warhol would always go first, and then that last series of paintings, you see the Basquiat drawing over his. It was a sign of their trust that he allowed Warhol to paint over him. So for Puff to allow him to speak, as he was rapping, it was just like a metaphor for their relationship. And as a listener, I was like, this shit is like some of the illest shit I've ever heard. It was just so freeform, and it was but by the way, and then when that song drops and he start rapping, it's like that shit is like atomic.
Yeah. Puff, you talk about putting that record together?
Yeah. I Biggie had like kind of wrote the whole song for me, and was like, go wherever you feel. And I was still the first time I did the vocals was in LA, like 2 nights before he had passed away.
Mm.
And so I had the reference of it. And I was in the studio. I remember I was in the studio, doing it by myself. And I was like, I started to drop, because it used to have all the drums. So then I started to drop out different pieces, and I went and separated all the pieces of Rocky, and I kind of replayed them.
Mm.
And that's kind of what started to give its magic, because Rocky, that Victory is from the theme song of Rocky.
Yeah.
And so it gives you that uplifting thing. And then, I finished the record though after he had passed away.
Wow.
And
Yeah.
it really was something that kept me going. You know what I'm saying? Like how I did Missing You, I did that after, you know, I was blessed to be able to have music to go back to, because I really was like, yo, I don't even want to like do any of this no more. Like, and it was just so overwhelming for me, you know what I'm saying, being young.
Yeah.
And it was just like, yo. And then when I did the Missing You, and I was able to release and express myself on that record, and then I went and recut the vocals in Daddy's House and really expressed myself. Like, and when you hear at the end, what am I going to do now? What the fuck am I going to do
Yeah.
now?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's because that's just it was just, even right now, it's like, man, it's so surreal. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like being on this phone and hearing Hove and hearing this and talking about Biggie, hearing homeboy that wrote the book and the impact. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? You know what I'm
Yeah. Yeah.
saying? Because it's such a beautiful story, man. And I miss him so much, but it's such a beautiful story the impact that he's been able to have on the game,
Yep.
and even me and Hove, like you know what I'm saying, like the impact that he had on us to get to here. So he's responsible for so many things, as my man was saying. But then also he's like responsible for me and Hove. That's like crazy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Yeah. Yeah.
saying? Like, that's what that man did. So happy birthday to the boy. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
For
And his
sure.
spirit is still here.
Yeah, like Hove, how did you deal with processing that loss? And like I always say, like you also then took on the challenge of like, ascending to great heights, right? Like I felt like you always paid homage to your brother Big, you pay homage to Pac, and you sort of took on that challenge of like trying to be our leader in the space.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, personally, that's a tough one. Because at the same time, you know, my brother in like real life and my brother in music and companionship and like someone that really push you, like that's a big void missing. I don't know if people really like, you know, really explore that part of it, like just as far as like just someone that's you inspired by that you're gonna push your art even
Yeah,
further. That's gone. So there's a big void. Like you generating and you're making things, on your own now. Um, but as far as like big impact and like just pushing forward, that's just me being a student of the game and loving the culture and just want to push the culture forward. And for me, that was the challenge that I was faced with. And that's a void. That's a big void. That ain't,
yeah,
others stepped in and filled it as well, not just myself. But it was that's a big void. That's the two pillars right there. Imagine that within a year.
yeah. 6 months, six
Right?
months apart. Yeah,
Yeah. I mean, come on, man. It's
Yo, I want to say, bro, you filled them shoes though. You came in and you know what I'm saying. So we definitely give thanks for you. You know what I'm saying? Because you definitely came in. And I just know how much Big like really looked up to Jay. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? Like they
that's
looked up
love.
to
That's
each
love.
other.
That's
You know what
love.
I'm saying? They looked up to each other. And yeah, that is crazy to have to step into the shoes of like two people, because that's all it was really, was those two people. And they had like the game, they had things on lock. Hove was coming, you know what I'm
yeah, yeah,
saying? But like, it was like these two cats was just so big, you know what I'm saying? And then so it's like to have all of that, like, come on you and have that responsibility to keep this shit fly and keep the art of it going.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying? Because I think Hov really kept not, Hov kept the art of it going and was able to take where they was at and take it, you know what I'm saying? Take it even higher.
yeah.
So,
And even back in
you know what I'm
back in
saying?
the era that we're all from, with Fat Joe too. Like we didn't really see hip hop grow like this. We didn't have a blueprint of like people evolving and still being so relevant and still impacting culture. Like y'all inspired me. Y'all knocked down those doors in general.
Yeah, it's so crazy because that's what hip hop is built on, us helping each other. So you're hearing stories about people that actually was helping each other. So Fat Joe getting him his first show, like that's huge. Fat Joe with the Bone Thugs, you know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? That's huge. Like everything that we've all like done to like help each other, that's the way it was. You know what I'm saying? So there's a lot of people that played a part in Biggie and people believing in him, you know what I'm saying? And it's a family of real hip hop artists, and yeah, so it's dope to have everybody on the call.
yeah, crack.
Puff, I'm gonna say it like this, right? Uh, we be feeling fucked up in days like this, and I don't know if it's some New York shit because I know everybody's listening, but as New Yorkers, we be feeling like we got robbed of our God. And so when you see shit like Empire State Building and Metro cards,
Yeah,
it ain't just rappers, it's the whole New York. We feel like, damn, we lost our God, King. know what I'm saying? The guy who's paving the way, who the only reason we eating is because of a guy like this. You know, he showed us a vision of taking it to another level from not just being army fatigue and chucker jackets, but that we could excel to be on another level. And that's just the, I sat in my room all day today just thinking about, like how much we was robbed of greatness. And all of us, you know what I'm saying? All of hip hop, the whole world, but for New York
Yeah.
specifically, we feel like, wow, you know what I'm saying? And so that's why we rep him every chance we get, every second of the day. And he's so adored, man, and revered. He's so that I don't know another person that we hold on that highest regard as Biggie.
Yeah.
Like, don't say nothing about Big.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm
Right.
saying? I come down my
Right.
house every day. I got the fucking painting on the wall. Biggie, the only nigga on my wall. Big ass painting of him. It's like, don't fuck with him. Don't talk to him. He spent Thanksgiving with my family every year. He just like Big is with
Yes,
us.
sir.
And we're gonna always throw up that bat signal for him. That's it, fellas.
Thank you, man. Thank you, Fat Joe. I appreciate you, brother. Yeah.
Love.
Yeah. We can wrap it up, man. I appreciate you, Puff. I appreciate you, Hov, man. You guys are super busy, obviously. Thank you for taking the time and sharing your thoughts and your memories and everything right now. And we doing it for big, man. 50.
That's right. And
Yes, sir.
thank you for putting it together, Elliot.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, Puff.
Love.
Love. Hov. Any final words, Hov? We get out of here?
Yeah, I don't want to leave on the song, but no, I felt like a little somber, like,
Yeah.
because we are very emotional about it, but we also celebrate, his
Yes,
legacy and
sir.
what he contributed to the game in such a short time. Like those albums stand the test of time. Them joints, son, we playing them last night. Like I said, it's Tata's 50th, so we was playing those joints last night, and it sounded like they came out yesterday. So the spirit is still here, and we're still celebrating, and we laughing and having a good time. And we're gonna toast him. We're going again tonight for Todd. So we're gonna
Yeah.
toast again, pop some bottles, and I might throw in some little Versace shirt for that.
Yeah.
Just
You got to do it.
you know what I'm
You
saying?
got to do it.
Yeah, yeah, for
Happy
sure.
birthday to Ty. Also, happy birthday, Busta Rhymes. I know it's his birthday too, man. So yeah,
Yeah.
a lot of solid dudes, man.
Happy birthday to the God Buster
To the
Rhymes.
guy Busta Rhymes, man.
Another Brooklyn legend. That was the track.
Yo,
That was the third one, the third part of the Westinghouse crew.
oh, you claiming high school now? You claiming school? You went to school? You was good?
I went 4 days. I went 4 days.
learned a lot. You're inspiring young man.
Yeah. Yes,
All
sir.
right, Hov. Thank you guys, man.
Yeah, I appreciate everybody on the call, everybody that came out to celebrate, just tap in. I don't know if we talk too much and y'all ain't get a chance to talk, but y'all got your own little platforms. Get busy, you heard?
Get busy with your platforms. You know what I mean? All
Yeah,
right, y'all.
for sure.
Appreciate your
All right,
support.
all
Thanks,
right,
Hov.
all right, peace, God.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yo, thank you guys, man. Toasted Biggie, 50 years old, man. Happy heavenly birthday to Big. Tomorrow, May 21, man. I appreciate everybody checking in. I think we got about 2,500 people. Shout out to the entire title team. Shout out Mel. Shout out Juan. Shout out Jason. Talk to you guys soon, man, for the next Spaces event, man. I ain't going to get guests like this next time, so don't get excited, man. All right? Peace.